Hello, ministry partners and friends and family. Hey, I'm coming to you from the Idaho side of Jordan Valley. So, just east of the town Jordan Valley, a mile or so, you come across the Idaho line. And I am on what's known as the old Gussman Ranch, owned by a couple in our church named Forrest and Nancy Fretwell. They are just dear people. They've been coming to our church for quite some time. He was born and raised here on this ranch, and his wife was raised on the 45 ranch down south of here. And of course, they met and married and raised their family on it. But this is generations in this fancy on this ranch. His great grandfather got this ranch, developed this in the 1860s, really kind of established around 1867, but was in the area in 1864. I've talked about this in other videos. He was the one that was able to go to Carson City, Nevada, which is quite a ways from here, and vote for Abraham Lincoln. So that's how old this ranch is, how long that's been established around here. And it's quite a piece of property, and we just love Forrest and Nancy. They've been such an encouragement to us, and watching them grow, even in their later years, growing under the teaching of God's Word, and very involved with our church and here in Jordan Valley. So what a pleasure to be around them. Now, there's so much interesting stuff on this ranch, but what caught my eye was this corral. If you've been around the horse world at all, you see round pens, and round pens are what you would start young horses in, break colts in to get them going. Well, this is a round pen. You can kind of look around me. You can see this particular round pen. What's unique about this round pen is it's made from willows. These are all cut from Jordan Creek that's just right back here. And you can see that they put in juniper post, and then they tie together these willow branches that they bring up from the creek, and they stack those in there. And this corral has been around for years. In fact, if you look back with me here, there's some cattle behind me. I don't want to spook them, but they're feeding. But you can see these old tires, and these are all now metal corrals in here. But this was all corrals made out of willows. And this is where they would bring the horses in. This ranch produced a lot of horses, some for the military, and then a lot for their own sake. So they would have big draft horses that they would use to do hay on, and those would come in and they would get them working. Of course, these horses are free to run in a lot of ground, so they're plumb wild when they come out. And so draft horses would be used, what we could call work horses, for putting up hay and plowing and all of those things. Bigger animals, big-footed. And then they would have more of a trotter type horse, an American standard bred type of horse that they used to run their buggies, to go to town, to go to church on Sunday, to go get goods in Jordan Valley, which is just a couple miles away, or even to go all the way to Caldwell, which would take them a couple days to get there. Then they would have their cow horses, right, that they made their living off of working cattle. And those horses would also be broken. So in a round pen, you'd bring those young horses in here. And what's unique about these corrals, he told me that they were actually a lot higher, because where the horses were wild and they'd want to jump them. But this allows them to not be able to see out. And it helps them be more concentrated as the cowboy that's trying to work them, to keep their attention, to help break them and give their will over to that person that is now going to break them. And so here, this old corral is made of willows, and these horses would soon get worked. And pretty soon they would break that will and they would surrender over to that cowboy. But these corrals helped them hemmed in a way behind them and in front of them, where they couldn't see a way out. And that helped them get control of those horses, begin to break those horses, and begin to use them in a way that would help the ranch out, or get them saddled and ready to go for sale, or whatever the case may be. Now, Psalms 139, verse 5. You love Psalms 139, don't you? It's just a tremendous psalm of God's sovereignty, His omnipotence, His omniscience, His omnipresence is all in there. But there's a verse in verse 5 that it says that He is before us and behind us, and He has laid His hand upon us. And just like a corral like this, He kind of hems us in, right? He keeps us from wandering off to places we shouldn't, or our minds even going where they shouldn't. And a good corral like this would hem these horses in so that they could work them. These are old corrals. These are originally built in the 1860s. Now, about every 50 to 70 years, Forrest was telling me they'd have to change out all the willows, and they keep adding new ones on the top in order to make them work and keep them going, because they're just going to decay in time. But think about this. Some of these corrals are 70 years old of putting these willows in, so they could hem in these horses before them and behind them, so they could lay their hands upon them and use them. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm glad the Lord put me in a round pen, and he hemmed me in, and he lays his hands upon me because he loves me, because I'm his child. And so what a good reminder. Here we are, 1860s, same thing. They still get colts started in these round pens and these round corrals to this day, and get them going and get them into the cattle industry and into working cows and so forth. But I just thought this was just a cool example of the Old West. Some things don't change. Yes, there are now metal gates and feeders and all kinds of things that have modernized things quite a bit. But there's some things that last. And because our God doesn't change, he hems us in, right? He's before us and he's behind us, so that he can lay his hands upon us and direct us. So I hope you're like an old colt. You give your will over to the Lord, surrender to him, and let him break you, right? Let him lead you where you need to go. Well, blessings, dear friends. We love you. We miss you. We are so grateful for your support to our ministry. Keep a prayer requests coming, and give us updates. We get emails. Families send us updates on their families. We love to hear those things. And so we know we're all serving the Lord where we're at, and someday we'll all be together with him, but we sure love the updates from you. So blessings. Love you. We'll talk to you real soon. Okay. Bye-bye.